What is going on, guys? And we are back. We are doing part two session review with Julian today. We're going to go over the hands that he played in the Super Triple Draw event. Again, if you missed the first part, it is Badugi, Deuce to 7 Triple Draw, Ace to 5 Triple Draw, Badeucey, and Badacey. I think Badugi, I said was the first one. So there's 5 games in there for the most part, basically all the draw games that you're familiar with. All the triple draw variants for the most part. And yeah, I'm excited. There's going to be some interesting ICM spots towards the end. One thing I should do is I should pull up. And as you guys can see over here, we have the pay jumps. We'll take a look at it. Basically, it is a little over 2x the pay jump because this was a $25 tournament. So, it's something, but it's not like a 4x or 5x. Occasionally you do see those when like Phenom misses the guarantee. But for the most part here, it's kind of like your normal initial pay jump to make the money in the spot. But we're going to get in some interesting spots, like we said, and we'll just, kind of go from there. So let us jump right into it here. Ace to 5 triple draw. You have a lovely starting hand here with 4 to a wheel. So this is basically just a combo that we're just going to be re-raising for the most part. Anything. We raise, we get called, we take 1, he takes 2, pair an ace, we bet, he calls. 1-1, we pair a 5. There is something to be said with your exact draw and the pairs that you've seen. If you can ever get your opponent to fold, like maybe the top of his range here, to get something to fold. I don't know if players do that though. So what I like to do more often than not is I like to just keep in my mind that what my blockers are, and then on a later street I might decide to turn my hand into a bluff. Because I just don't think your opponents are ever folding here. And then, like, depending on who you're playing against, some players don't really elect to freeze in this situation. They elect to like just raise any 8. And if they do that in this spot, they're going to be pushing they're going to be pushing a ton of equity against you, which is it's like one of those things where it's like they might have a really rough draw here, and then ironically they're going to make a decent hand against you, and then like jam it up in a situation where they should probably be freezing instead of, because they could be getting 3-bet here. But because of that, I think what I want to do is just check and then like decide if I like pair again, if I want to turn my hand into a bluff, because I've seen like just a ton of good pairs. So I think this is a little bit, and we're out of position too. So that it does hurt us. If we were in position here, I think like betting again is totally fine, because now you like get him to break some hands, and again you have the best draw in position, so I don't mind that at all. But I think here I would check.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I don't think I wanted to snow here, which I didn't. So
right,
it's like too good of a draw to be snowing, I guess.
Yeah, and it's not even the snow aspect of it. It's just more of the we're just out of position, and like he's drawing 1 now in this spot. So we're not. I don't think with the unknown information in this situation, whether he's like pat or drawing here, it's kind of like twofold, right? Like if we bet in this spot, yes, we have a good draw, but 1, we don't know if he actually made a decent hand and he can freeze us behind, or 2, he's going to raise us if he actually makes a decent hand, and now we're an equity dog. The third option of the game tree is basically he misses and we're still a favorite. But there's a couple different options there that when we're playing out of position like this, we just want to go ahead and like check our hand, know what our blockers are, then make a decision on the river.
Yeah.
Okay. So last draw, you take 1, you make a jack, and then on this river here, this is really close actually, between a bet and a check. If we go to Death Donkey's site, right? If we load, we don't need that one yet. But if we load up Death Donkey's site over here, we can see this is basically the river solution in these ace to 5 games, D1 versus D1, 5 big blind pot out of position. If you have access to stud flop draw, you can also do this. Stud flop draw does get a little bit more in depth with the blocker aspect of it, because in this spot, my guess is we bet the jack based on the fact that we've seen a 9 and 2 pair. So if we've seen like king, 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 your jack goes down a little bit in value. But in this situation here, because you've seen a 3, a 5, and a 9, I have to believe that like the jack goes up in value in this situation. So let's just type in jack in this spot and see. It actually does check out of position here. The bet, if we can look down specifically at the bet, it's basically close to break even. So my guess is like, let's see, does it start betting the 10s out of position? Because if it starts, here, let's do that. And then let's do about 100 here. I think is probably good. If we scroll down to the 10s out of position here, it is betting the 10s, and they're pretty much like neutral EV2 for the most part. Checking like 10-5, which is interesting. Like everything for the most part is like interesting. The EV lost between like one or the other, because like sometimes it goes for the check and sometimes it goes for the raise here. Let's see here. Let's go down to the jack. If we jack 2, 3, 4. So yeah, the check and the back's kind of like neutral specifically, because you can see this one. I would in game like think like there are probably some bets here just because of the blocker aspect of your hand, but it's close. I also think one thing too to think about in these spots is if you're the big stack and you can put the short stack on, put a lot of pressure on him from like, because if he like loses his hand here in this spot, he's gonna be down to like 3.5 big blinds. Again, you divide by two. If you bet and he calls and you win. So it's kind of close, honestly, between betting and checking, but I wouldn't mind betting this one just based off the pair blockers that we've seen. So it goes check check and he check sixes back. I think like this check is okay. Um, it's probably yeah, I mean like it's probably fine in GTO world. I mean like, these $25 tournaments for the most part, like I don't think a lot of people are folding um sixes, sevens, eights. Like he's probably gonna have some one card eight draws here. The sevens and eights for the most part, he probably wants to turn into bluffs, but he does not here and you just win this one. So
Yeah. So I assume the check with jacks or maybe queens even is a check call every time.
I have to think that if we again keep going the wrong one.
I mean,
If
definitely
we
with the
load up
blocker.
more here, yeah. Now here's the thing. Actually, we can visualize this. This is a better way to do it. So if we can like look over here specifically at these combos here, if we look at the check call, so it goes check and bet. I think that works. CB. Oh no. Sorry, that's a hand filter. We want to do this. We want to do check and bet. And we're gonna load hands. So we out of position checks, in position bets, as we can see over here. And we're basically like calling down a lot in this situation. The orange is check raises, the hands that we were like trapping with. And then all this blue for the most part, this is the stuff that we're calling with. You can see eights, nines, tens, all jacks, most queens, kings, aces, deuces, threes. It throws a lot of check calls in there. The best way to kind of think about it is like this is where it kind of like starts to randomize, and depending on like what pair blockers you've probably seen, that's where you
Yeah.
want to start calling. So if you've like seen like the threes and the fives, my guess is if you make like aces, deuces, or threes again on the river, like you could just always go ahead and check call. You can even see here, this is where it kind of like starts to throw the check raises in, like depending on where it is. Now, here's the thing, like it's a very, very, very small sliver of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, like the one pair bluffs over here, we can see it's just a super, super, super small sliver. Probably around a couple percent. It doesn't do it very often. The best way I like to think about it is like if you've probably seen three pair in the hand, that's probably one to do it with, because it's like of the combos of the times where you actually seen like three pair in the hand, it's just such a low frequency event that probably matches up something along the lines of it. Because you don't want to be doing it too often because they're just going to call you all day long and they're going to call you all day long profitably. So good question. All right, next one. Pretty looking hand again. We get Delta Pat 7 on the button. We're gonna open this one. Big blind calls. He takes three. This is just an easy pat. Nothing really to
Yeah.
do here. Bet, call, take two. This would be a mistake to draw to the six. You have more equity here, patting the seven against a D3. If you had an
Yeah.
eight, I would break the eight. And then if I
Mhm.
caught the eight again on the first draw, I'd probably keep the eight. But with the 7-6, like we're just patting here. He bets and he folds. So I think that's the one reason I threw that in there, was just kind of like to show like we don't want to break the seven here. We just want to pat the seven in position,
Yeah.
especially against D3. All right, now we're playing deuces seven triple draw again, and we open this one. This is just a little bit too. This is too loose again.
Yeah.
No blockers. Like Jack Jack Queen is just one of these hands that just go way down in value. Like I think in some stud flop draw world, like it might think that this hand is okay to open if you have two pair and like some sort of like nine. But even then, like I'm not in love with this one. But this without the blockers, like in itself, is just too loose.
Yeah.
It does look like that you're trying to put your foot down a little bit, because I know like the money bubble's relatively approaching. But I think this is just a little bit too much. I think we're too far off, because again, we're like four-handed and they pay six. So there's at least 9 or 8 people left at this point, if not more.
Yeah.
So I think this is just a little bit too much in the spot. And again, when you unblock your opponents, like you're just more likely to run into them over here, having
Yeah.
like some
I agree. Uh,
you get three
One thing
bet.
I wonder is, since it's not the first time, concerning the first video, that I've had some loose opens, and it might be that VWolf 50 was sitting out.
Oh, well, if that's the case, yeah, then I mean, like, yeah, go ahead and attack. Unfortunately, yeah, we can't see that, but if that's the case,
Maybe
then
I'm,
yeah.
I'm totally hallucinating that memory, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, if you're hallucinating, it's a good time to hallucinate that one, but
Yeah.
yeah, like I get it. He pats. Honestly, I probably just check fold this hand.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you have seen no real good blockers here. You've got Jack Jack Queen 10-9 and a pair of threes. Like your draw isn't good, and you're just gonna like pick up some. You're always gonna pick up like some weird spots here a lot. Like sometimes here you're gonna pick up an eight, sometimes you're gonna pick up like a six and an eight, and you just or like an 8-7 draw, and you just have no idea where you're gonna be at in the hand. Catching the 9 here is also like not a great card because like he pats
No.
probably like all 9s in this situation. If he pats all 9s here, his combos of 9s are slightly reduced just by the fact that they call it one.
Yeah.
So I would just go ahead and fold this one. Check, he
Yeah.
bets, and you fold. And I like this fold.
Yeah.
All right, next one, do 7 triple draw, monster draw again. We have for a wheel. We should jam this one. You do?
Well, so Vivo was there. No, he was
Oh
not.
yeah, okay. V was there this time. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
But he lost some chips, so maybe there was I did edit this video. There were a ton of hands and I selected them
Yeah.
out just so we could obviously go over these.
Okay.
So it goes 5 bet 3 ways. One,
Yeah.
1, 1.
Perfect.
Good luck here. The only real question here is like, do you do anything tricky? And I think the answer is no, because one, there's technically 7.5 big bets in the pot right now, and both of them have a fraction of the pot. This is just one you want to just keep betting and get the money in. There's nothing really here to do anything tricky. Like
Yeah.
your range is going to be strong. If you check here, it goes check and it goes like 1 pat. Your range, your hand is going to look so strong in this situation that
Yeah.
that they actually could get away from it. You don't want your opponents here to get away from their hands. You just want to put the money in, and after putting in 5 bets, a lot of times when you throw this first bet in, it actually looks like you're just trying to get value for your draw, which isn't necessarily a mistake considering that these players are short anyways. But you do not want to
Yeah.
give them the opportunity to get away from their hand at this point. So you check,
Yeah.
you bet, raise, call. I would just 3 bet. Yeah, just get the money in. Like this is
Yeah.
4. I mean, this is just the dream spot. This is just where
Yeah.
like you just have the license to print money, and this is just always fun.
Yeah.
Draw
I agree.
1, pat, check.
I go back to the beginning of the previous street. We saw that ball up top at 6 big blinds and Vivo at like 4.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah, the big blinds. Yeah, not big bets, but big blinds. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I just put in 1 bet on every street at this point, I'm basically taking all the shifts possible. There's just 1 more big blind from ball up top that I will not be able to get, but it's almost all of it. So there's no reason to be tricky for that reason as well.
No, and not only that, like I think a lot of times since this player is relatively short, he's probably incentivized if he 1 makes anything, or 2 if he actually has a decent draw to like try to get Vivo out of the pot, or Vivo or whatever you want. Vivo out of the pot. And sometimes they just go ahead and jam here. Like this is just a spot where you're just trying to get the money in as quick as you possibly can to kind of like make it look like you still might have a draw here. And for what it's worth, like honestly, if you have like 2, 3, 4, 7 here in this spot multi-way and they don't have that many bets left, like getting it in here isn't that bad anyways. Like how bad is it going to be if you have a wheel draw realistically? So yeah, like I would just try to get it in as quick as possible. And you do.
Yeah. I guess as well.
All in. And you just are going to collect the money. You can be a straight.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice hand. All right. The next hand here is Badugi. Okay. Now we're 6-handed. And if I believe 5 get paid, I don't think this is the final table, but I can't remember.
No.
Okay.
No.
So, okay. Yeah. So there were 3 tables left. So yeah. All right. So we have a bunch of chips. I mean, we have over 30 big bets right here. And at this stage of the tournament with like 2 tables left, this is a ton of bets. So yeah, like you still should be playing a lot of hands and you know, just like trying to push people around. You're not going absolutely crazy in all these spots. You know, like, I mean, like in Badugi, you can do some weird stuff and like deuce to 7, ace to 5. I would say more deuce to 7 in Badugi. Like you can start doing some crazy stuff in these situations to put your opponents in like blenders. We might get into that, but like we'll just start off here. It folds to you. Oh, go ahead.
Can we go back to previous hand? I can't remember the name of the play we eliminated. A ball up top, okay. Yeah. And Bendino did have 36, 38. So I was wondering if maybe the hands were out of order for some reason. But no.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right. So here it folds to you in the cutoff. Again, like give my stack size here, I'd probably raise 935. You can still reduce in this situation. If it folds to you, yeah. It raised, this is fine. You get 3 bet. Call. See, I would just keep the 9. Okay. I would just draw 1 at the 9 here. You can reduce, but like in this spot, so more often than not, if your reduction is not great, your option to reduce is not great, you kind of keep the rougher draw, because like making the Badugi is more beneficial. So like an extreme example here is if you somehow had like 7, 8, 9, you know, like say you're on the money bubble and pushing it and you had 7, 8, 9, like you want to draw at the 7, 8, 9 versus like taking 3 at the 7. Same kind of concept here. Like a 3-card 5 is, you can reduce to a 3-card 5, which is okay. But again, even if you're reducing the situation, you're not quite sure where you're at and you're out of position. So usually here, what I like to do is I still like to draw the 3-card 9. Okay. So you take 2, he's pat. this is a little bit tricky because again, you're gonna like pick up equity on the next street, but I think the pot is big enough to the point where we probably want to peel one. So I think we do want to peel one in this situation. So I think this is a little bit too quick of a fold.
Okay.
All right, next hand, deuce 5-7. I would open this one as well. You do. You get 3-bet again. Call. 1-1, check, bet, call. Really, you're just in a spot where you're kind of just, I think, drawing one more time. The only question is, do you ever turn your hand into a bluff? I think no at this point. And you just check fold. This is also fine. I'm not really quite sure why I put this one up here for the most part. Maybe just like one I missed, but I think you play this hand fine again. Lost 2 in a row, unfortunately. All right, ace deuce 3 here. Obviously, premium, raise under the gun, fold, fold, call. I would jam this one. The reason being is because this player on the button, when he flats, he basically has a draw 2 or draw 1 every single time. And when you can squeeze players like this, I mean, like even out of position, I think that you should do it. Yeah, I still think you should do it. It's annoying because in some ways, like you turn your hand face up by doing this, but you're just pushing too much equity against a player who can like call here and draw 2. Now in tournaments, for the most part, like this shouldn't be a thing later on in a lot of these tournaments, but you still see players do it. So yeah, I mean, for me, I would just jam ace 2-3.
Yeah, what would be the reason to just flat here?
It protects your range because theoretically here against like this under the gun open here, like your draw 1 range is not going to be pushing a lot of equity because like, if you think about all the draw 1s that you probably have in the situations, like 3-card 7s, 3-card 6s, 3-card 5s, 3-card 4s, right? Maybe some 3-card 8s that can reduce. And again, like he basically has those plus all Badugis. When you just call here, you just have 3 cards. But he has Badugis plus in this situation. So his range is ahead of you. But when you see this flat here, like this flat is just a very wide one. And again, like in Hold'em in general, like if you're pushing equity, you're just jamming. The thing is in Badugi, we're giving some information away. So the trade-off of like having a decent hand in Badugi in some of these spots is just the fact that we give up some of the information by like drawing 1 in this situation versus being pat all the time. Like not and then Hold'em where we don't give the information away by turning our hand face up. But I would jam this one. You 3-bet. I like this. Call. 1-1. He does take 1. Bet, call. Yeah, this is a very annoying spot with the jack. The king and the queen I definitely break. The jack is close. This is close. I think what we're gonna actually do here is let's go over to stump blood draw. And let's look at the odds calculators, right? So draw games for the most part, we're gonna look at Badugi. Hand 1, you have ace, deuce, 3, jack, and what do we see? We saw the 10 of like whatever this suit was, I think. So we know that one. Hand 2, his range is it should look like something like this. Something like this probably. Maybe even something like that. So he drew 1 out of position, and then this hand on the button is probably something like this. And then he drew 1 also. So let's see what stud draw. Thanks, we have 2 draws left. And it does think it should break it. So again, the playability side of it, yeah, it's interesting. It does think it's breaking. I don't think it breaks the 10. So if we give this a 10 instead, I'd be more interested to see this one. It keeps the 10. Okay. So if we give ourselves the jack, which we have right here, it's got what, 30? It's got 40. Well, yeah. So we force keep it. So it's got 39.5. And if we force keep this hand, it looks like we are gonna have less 39. It's close, but again, like it's more of the play only side, right? Like we can definitely make more money here if we make a big hand. So it looks like we should break this one.
Okay.
So we pat, draw 1, we bet, call, fold. That's a really good outcome for you.
Yeah.
Pat draws 1. I think generally what we want to do is like, does your opponent ever call you here thinking you're bluffing? I mean, it's really hard for you to be bluffing in this situation. You should be able to find bluffs, but usually it's just hard. So I probably check this river, but man, at jack smooth, it's close. I'm not gonna hate it one way or the other. I guess like I didn't expect him to really have like too many 3-card 7s here, but I guess it's just in his range for the most part because he's not like calling here also. So I think the check is okay.
Yeah, I agree with breaking the jack for the reason that if we compare the hands that we beat with the pat jack compared to the hands that we beat with the three deuce ace, it's just basically the kings and the queen Badugi's, right?
Well,
So
yeah, you're right. Right.
that's not that many hands.
It's not. It's the kings, the queens, and then if they make a jack too, we would beat their jack. But the flip side is, for
Yeah.
the most part, is like you're out of position against two. Now against one player, for the most part, it's close again between keeping the jack. But I still think from a playability standpoint, you want to break it, because if the equities are
Yeah.
ever close in that situation, you want to be drawing at a hand that makes a relatively big hand, because you are going to be able to put in as much, especially in Badugi. Deuce to
Yeah.
seven, a lot of times like ranges shrink up really quick, right? Like if you're on a river in a 1-1 spot and it goes bet raise re-raise, like I think Ian Chant, I think it was Ian who put out a really good post on this recently on X, where he's just like, you're just supposed to call with like number four, seven. But
Yeah.
in Badugi, if you have like a 6 or 5 Badugi, you're supposed to put in like two more bets. It's a lot
Yeah.
different. And that's the key is like when you make the most money in these games when your big hand runs into another big hand. So when we're looking at the different equities in this situation here, like it would have to probably be 40, it'd probably have to be an extra 5% plus to even consider keeping the jack for between like
Yeah.
breaking in that situation where like it was basically like 39 and a half. But the playability side of it is just so much more important in these draw games. And that's why, like breaking in that spot is something that like if you ever find like between keeping a rough a rough hand versus drawing is like the same equity, you almost always should be drawing. Even though like sometimes you feel like,
Mhm.
man, I broke the best hand and then the person made a queen and won the pot. Like, sure, okay, that makes some sense, but in reality too, like those are the times you're gonna pick up 5 or 6 extra big bets when you make big hand versus big hand.
Yeah. Maybe.
All right. Another good one here with ace four. Oh, I missed it. Ace 4 5. We're gonna open. I don't know why I put that one there. Just probably missed it. You played that one great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Perfection. All right, Badeucey here. Looks like we've lost a little bit, or the blinds went up. Can't really tell which. Um, we have 4 5 in the big blind. He raises. I'm gonna call 4 5. I think this is fine. And Badeucey again, 7 5 4 3 2. 5 4 3 2 is the best Badugi. He draws two. You draw three. He bets and you fold. Yeah, like I think the defend is fine. And then I give up. Like this is something that you definitely should do at some frequency. Is like if he takes two and he bets, and you have like no blockers. Yes, you have one pair, but if you have like no good blockers and a rough draw, like those are the times you like find the small percentage of the time where you find the fold. So I think this one is good. Scroll down a little bit more. All right, deuce 3 5, obviously a big hand here. He calls. So again, from a theory standpoint, this is again Badeucey. I'm pretty sure for chips you're supposed to 3-bet this hand, because again, when you are a favorite on the Badugi side, you want to be pushing as much equity as you can. And having the two
Yeah.
three five out of position here, I think you do want to 3-bet. Now, if you were shorter or if you were like near a money bubble, I think like calling this hand is better, because then you kind of keep like a lot of good hands in your range. You can pad a little bit rougher. There's again like in draw games like in money bubbles, you do some funky things. But here for chips, if we're jamming for chips here, I think like this is just an easy 3-bet with perfect 3 card 5. You
But
call.
it's not because
Oh,
uh, the five is
Oh, the
suited to
five
deuce.
suited. Oh, the five suited. That's my fault. Okay, so
Yeah.
I actually think you should just fold here. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
looking at the heart and the king, and I thought we had 2 3 5. So I misspoke.
Mhm.
I think you should just fold here. But everything still stands if you had 2 3 5 here. So, but I
Yeah.
would
Okay.
I would fold the 2 3 out of position.
All right.
All right. So it goes 3 1 1. No improvement. Check. Call. We've seen a 3 and a 5. I mean, since we're in here, I probably call one more time, but I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And we've seen a 3 and 5. We catch another 5, and we have 2 3 5.
Mhm.
We just got to check
Mhm.
fold here in this spot. Bet call. Yeah, we just fold. And then just curious what they have. Like, yeah, this is like he opened this to 10-7 under the gun. I think this is too way too loose. And then over here, Chino made the better 10 and chopped it. But yeah, the ten Badugi, I think the 10-9 Badugi under the gun is just a little bit too rough. It's just too rough generally. All right, ace 5 triple draw. 2 3 6 is close. Under the gun. Again, if we go
Okay.
over to step flop draw and we're gonna go over to the Pro Tools over here,
Yeah.
you can always use code LMG for the discount. Structure, there we go. And we put in your hand, what was it, like King 9 deuce 3 6. I would probably fold this honestly under the gun without the ace. It's 25 percentile.
Okay.
I think we should probably fold this one just because, like, again, if you start looking at what ranges we're usually opening here. It's like between 20 to 25, but without the ace and ace to five, I think I'm gonna fold. Again, if you like throw one pair in there, so like to do king, deuce
Yeah.
three, three, six, or something like that. No, we open the three card wheel. Deuce three, three, six. Over here, it drops it down under that 20 percentile range. So
Yeah.
like the pair probably makes it worth it, but again, like the deuce three six with no blocker, I think I'm just folding. Okay, so we open, we get called.
So
Go ahead.
you mentioned the ace in the hand. I know obviously in deuce to seven the deuce is key. Is the ace just as key in ace to five, or it's a little less?
It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit less theoretically. The reason being is because like
Yeah.
the straights and flushes don't count against you as much. So, you can make a rougher hand and it's like fine. But a lot of the premiums, I mean, like all the premiums in ace to five to contain an ace, but I think
Yeah.
it's an interesting question because again, if you I'll put a link to Chris's video at the bottom of this one, but he talks about a recent video where, do they just tend to make it more an ace to five? And I think the answer is yes, but from a theory standpoint, what kind of stands out for me is since the straights and everything don't count against you, I wouldn't think that it's as important. Whereas like
Yeah.
the deuce is super important because obviously in deuce to seven, like you can't make those straights. So like having a deuce like gives you the perfect building block from the bottom up. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm not sure. I'll post the link to Chris's video below. But yeah, I mean it's not bad to just take that same uh concept and apply it in this situation here to like have the ace too. But I mean like again, you can see like how big of a 7 percentile change does here if we have like a one pair blocker.
Yeah.
2-2. We make the a 4 card eight. I would check here and draw two again. Seen a pair as well.
Yeah.
2-1. So theoretically here what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to check, and you're either supposed to check call, draw one at the 10, or you're supposed to check call and draw two again. The pot's big enough to justify it, and he was drawing one on the previous street. So it's close it's close between one or the other. I think you're supposed to check call here and draw one at the 10. You draw two again, which I think is like, again, it's close. And you make ace, which is hilarious. Um, so you check and he checks, and this seems fine. And he's got a king, unfortunately. So he technically pips you.
Yeah.
All right. Ace five, 2-4-6. Yeah, let's raise the button with this. If someone had raised in front of you, I'm probably folding this hand.
Okay.
It's close. If he had opened up, I'm probably three betting. But if these other players had opened up in front of you, I'm probably folding the 2-4-6 again with no blockers. But easy button open. I think the only reason I put this on here was just kind of like to show the difference between like under the gun here with the 2-3-6 versus like folding here with the 2-4-6. But just something to keep in mind. Or was that deuce? No, it was ace five. All right, we
No,
did it
yeah,
right.
it's fine, yeah.
All right, deuce five triple draw. We have 3-4 here in the big blind. Let's see how this one goes. Button opens, calls.
Yeah, that's all.
It's rough
So
because it's rough because again we don't really have good blockers with the 3-4. Probably calling here is fine, to be completely honest. It's more of like the tournament aspect. Like, do you want to kind of keep your chips as you are right now? Like if you had 60 big blinds here, I think like calling is probably fine. Um, the 3-4 here, it's just like rough. So
yeah.
I'm probably throwing away the 3-4 here, honestly.
Yeah.
All draw one, draw three. Interesting, he didn't three bet draw one here, and he bets. Now you make 3-4-5, and what did Arvark take two? I think you probably have to peel one here, just given the price. The thing is like this player here could raise behind you, which would be really annoying. But I do
Yeah.
think with three cards to a wheel and a blocker, you probably have to call once. Call, pat. You would think that this range is rough considering he didn't three bet. You draw two. You do to make the two, and then Arvark draws one. Kind of a tricky spot again because we're gonna. I mean, like there's just times we're gonna get jammed here, but we do have a wheel draw here, so we do call, pat, draw one, pat, jack, and this is where we just fold, and it goes call. And he must have had some weird draw in here if he didn't three bet pre-flop, either the straight eight draw or the open-ended six draw.
Yeah.
And then Arvark, I think patting Arvark's hand is actually totally fine given the way this hand played out. And I still think a lot of people here like raising this situation. I don't mind freezing this hand for a lot of different reasons, but at the same time too, like he also has a hand against like a pretty capped range, I would say. Like I don't expect Chino to really have I don't expect Chino to ever have a seven here, the way this hand's played out.
Yeah.
So like he's probably got a fair bit of nines, and if that's the case, like with you in between, like he should consider re-raising the eight, I think. Just because this range is so capped. But like I don't mind the freeze here in this spot too. But when he bets the river, it's kind of a nightmare just because like he also knows like Aardvark probably knows in this situation too, like this range is pretty wide. So when he bets here, he's representing the top of his range.
Yep.
All right, deuce triple draw off. 7-7-6-4 here. If it folds you on the button, I'm going to open it. This is fine. Get called, call.
Yep.
Hit the deuce, which is nice. What were the draws? 2, 3, 2. Yeah, okay. So check, you bet. This is good. Seen a pair and a jack. Seen a 10 here. Check, bet. Did he take one? Okay. So
yeah.
10s are kind of this special case, I think. The reason being is because he didn't bet the previous street, right?
No.
Now again, there's some funky things that you can do, but you guys are what did five got paid in this tournament, right? So technically, I don't think this isn't the final table, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, if that's the case, then there's some things to be considered here. Like if this player is playing relatively tight in this spot, I don't think raising is going to make a ton of sense. But if he's playing like the normal ranges here, like I think raising here makes a little bit of sense. The reason being is because if he raises in this situation here and he has like a hand he could break or just fold, like that's such a big win for you because now in position, if you have like the 10-7 draw versus him, you go to like around a 65 to 70% favor depending on like what his draw is. And if he pats in front of you, you can just break. So like your range is representing like a strong range here. It's not like it's not like it went 1-1 and now you take 2 and he bets into you. Where like your range is really wide if you raise. Like your raise here should be, or your range here should be pretty tight considering you raise the button. They check to you, you bet. So like, yeah, you can have some rough draws per se. It's kind of close because like you can have some rough draws here, but as he's played his hand, unless he like made a magical deuce here with like a straight draw, I think what you want to do here in this situation is probably raise the 10-7 and try to get your opponent here to break. Yeah, and like the other thing too here sometimes is like what happens is players just have a good draw and they just bet it again. Now you're the one who bet in position, so I would expect this player to be pat, but I think raising here makes more sense.
All right. I do believe final table actually because we knocked out 2 opponents in the hand we made the wheel induced to 7. So this is
okay.
not
So you think this is the final table? Okay. So
yeah.
in this situation, it's close. I mean, it's close. So let's go check bet. I mean, you still have enough chips to like, you still have enough big bets here to throw in the raise because again, like the 10's kind of the special case where I think a 9 has like too much equity. You could still raise a 9, but you usually want to pat the 9 more often than not, depending on your opponent.
So freeze it.
Yeah, you could freeze it. The problem here is too is you have another opponent behind who might call and draw 1. Exactly. But in this spot with the 10, I mean, like I could see the justification for raising the 10 here, trying to get this player out because if he has a draw 1 here, he's supposed to fold. And then you kind of put this player in a tough position. So I would still probably raise, like, you have enough chips to do this with. It goes call, draws 1, he pats, takes 1. Paired deuce, which is annoying, and then he bets into you. You fold. Yeah, I think this is okay, and it folds when you just never see it. So,
yeah,
something to consider. All right, deuce draw here. Deuce 5-7, you raise. He flats you again. 2-2, you make the 4. Now here's the thing. Because you're at the final table and again, you're playing deuce and like you're basically on the money bubble. Everyone's kind of relatively near the same stack, right? Like there's a little nuances. Like obviously right here, he's got 13, you have 10. Again, you divide by 2, big blinds, big bets. 7. So like you guys are all relatively close. So what you start doing a lot in these situations is you start playing a little bit more passive. And that's like going back to that 10 hand. Like that's one of the reasons why like if you kind of play passively in that spot a little bit, it does look like sometimes when you like raise the 10-7 draw, it looks like your range is a little bit stronger. So in this spot here, like I actually in a 2-2 spot, I think what we want to do sometimes if we're going specifically for the money bubble is we actually want to check this one when we could just check because like he's going to improve and like if he improves, he's going to bet and we can like reduce some variance. If he checks back here on the next street, we can just bet our 1 card draw and try to get him to fold anyways. So you bet, he calls, jack, draw 1, you check, he bets, he calls, pat, pair 5. Yeah, I mean, not much really here to do. Like, you haven't seen a ton of pairs, so like I don't think we can justify the bet there. He goes check, and he does have an 87.
Okay. So yeah, playing more passively because of the money bubble aspect.
I mean, yeah, like in, they talk about like ICM is for poor people thing, but at the same time, like, it's how you increase your win rate too, is like, how do you play the end game? How do you play the bubbles? And again, if you're the overwhelming big stack and he's a short stack, like you want to bet in those situations because you want to increase the variance for him because if you knock him out, it's obviously you make the money, but you want to push it as much as you possibly can. So you want to increase your variance there versus like in these situations, you probably want to play a little bit more passively. And also too, like you keep a wider range in there and that's fine. Like just keeping your range a little bit wider, like, yeah, you might be missing a little bit of value for chips, but from the ICM standpoint, I'm pretty sure you just want to play a little bit more passively.
All right.
All right. Badacey here, 5-4-3-2-1, best low, 4-3-2-1 is the best Badeucey. Let's see. 1 sec. All right, 2-4-7. Let's go. Fold, raise, fold, fold, fold. So let's see here. You are technically not the short stack, but you're relatively a short stack. You're getting a good price in the big blind, and you have 8 big bets to start this hand. I would probably still call here, and draw 2 at the 2-4-7. I think this is fine at this point.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about getting jammed. Your heads up. Did you throw the right one away? You did. You threw the club away. Good. For the people who are like wondering what I just meant, basically in this situation here, if you're debating whether to keep the deuce of diamonds or the deuce of clubs, because he has the deuce of diamonds in his hand, that means the 10 of clubs is live. So he wants to keep the diamond because if he catches the 10 of clubs here, he doesn't make the Badugi, which is somewhat significant because, like, you know, sometimes you just make a Badugi and get half the pot. So you do correctly throw away. It goes 2-2. You improve to 1 card draw, and it's kind of the same thing here. Like, you can make the argument for keeping the 1 card 7 draw with the ace deuce 4. I think that's probably what you want to do in this situation, honestly. I've done some work in stump flop draw, and I'm pretty sure what you want to do is like when you have these decent draws with the decent 3 cards, like more often than not now, you do keep it. It's close, but you know, you're a lot of times what's going to happen here is if you draw 2 again, like on the next street here, you're kind of forced to draw 2 one more time. And this is like the end game in the tournament where it gets a little bit trickier because again, like you want to have a decent draw going into the last one, and having a 3 card 4 with a 7 draw is like totally fine in this spot. So you check, he bets, you call, you take 1. I like this. 1-1. You make an 8. I would check. I would pat. This is good. He draws 1. I do think you want to bet this one for value because you got the 3 card 4 and the 8 low. I don't expect you to get raised too often here as played when he checks back. And I mean, I think you're just, I think your hand has value here. You bet, I like it, and he folds. So I think you play this one good.
Okay. Are we not missing value on the previous street when we hit the 8?
Well, so, that's not what I want. Hold on. I don't think so. The reason why is because, like, with respect to the end game, it goes 1-1, right? So when it goes 1-1, he's going to be free rolling you here a fair decent bit because of the Badugis.
Yeah.
You also have like one of your worst, no, I wouldn't say one of your worst, but you're definitely high up in your ace to 5 range. So you kind of have like this middling hand on both sides of the equity distribution, right? Like you have this 3 card 4 that's worth something, and then you have this 8-7 which is worth something, but nothing's worth like super strong. And kind of when you have like a 2-way equity hand, a lot of times you're still betting, but he's still in position, and we're still trying to preserve our chips because, like, theoretically from like the money bubble standpoint, if we bet here and we get raised and we lose 6 bets going into the next hand, like it's kind of a small catastrophe. I wouldn't say it's a small catastrophe because we're technically going to lose 4 even if he has us beat, but playing passively out of position here, I think, is probably the best way to do it. If we made 8-8 here, you probably do want to bet. I think that's probably a little bit too strong. But or especially 7-7, that's just way too strong. But I think here with a 3 card and the 8 low, I think we want to check and call and just go check. But I do think you make a good bet on the river. All right, but do you here you have 3 card 5? He raises. This is one you do want to 3 bet. You do 3 bet. Again, even with the money bubble kind of looming, it's tough, and you can play this spot a little bit weird again because again, like you have more chips than both these players, Aardvark and Raj, but you still kind of have to like play your decent hands when they're in front of you, and a 3 card 5 is something that's definitely worth it. He gets 4 bet, which is kind of a nightmare. But he's gonna pat. You take 1, pat 1, and pat, and then check and give up, and 10. The only thing that you could theoretically do in that different spot is maybe call pre-flop. But again, like I still think with a 3 card 5 is just good enough to 3 bet against a cutoff open. So I mean, I don't have a problem with this. It's again close because you theoretically lose 1 extra big bet, and the ICM. Let's get to the end of the hand here and let's see what we end up with. So 9. So you have 11 here in this spot. It's relieves it like kind of close, but I still think what you want to do in that spot is get heads up with a 3 card 5. So
I agree.
It is what it is. Like if you're on a, if these guys have like, you know, 4 big blinds and like 5 big blinds, probably what you want to do with your 3 card 5 is call, because then you can get through the hand relatively cheaply and still just play in position just cheaply. So
Yeah.
I still think you have enough chips here to play the hand like you did. It's just, you just ran into a 10. All right, the next hand you have the king. You open, draw two, pat, check, bet, fold. Yeah, like nothing wrong with that. And probably just one that I missed, but you don't break this one here, especially against the D2, because again, like he can reduce to a better three card here anyway. So one you definitely want to pat in position. Ace 3 5 here, same type of thing. Aardvark is technically short, but you do want to attack his big blind here, just because you have the ability to like put him in a little bit more dire straits if you steal the blinds and or if you win this hand. So you raise, and that's good. So you raise that one. That was good. And again, he's shorter than us at this point. So 11.4, 13.5, 9.2. So something to just consider. We're getting it's getting a little bit close here in this situation. Just because again, like he is, if we decide to play this hand here in this spot, I think you can call and draw one. I think like that's probably okay, especially with the 3 card 6 here, since we're kind of like getting towards crunch time and he's shorter than you.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I know the default here is a 3-bet. The problem here is like now if we lose this hand, we're basically very, very close to the bubble boy. So
Yeah.
I would probably call here. He calls, draws one, we take one. We're not turning our hand into a snow. I mean, I think the bet on the first draw is okay. Takes one, he checks. I probably check this one back, honestly. I don't want the variance at this point with given my stack size. You check. I think this is good. He takes one. You take one, and then he checks the river, and I would just check this one back as well. I don't think we're going for a lot of value here. He did have a 3 card 10, it looks like. So yeah. All right. Probably would have broken his hand, honestly. Like the 3 card 10 is because he can reduce with the 3 card 4. Like the 3 card 5 was a little bit different. Earlier when you have the 9, and like a 9 is just a better draw. And they're kind of relatively close, but like I get it. Okay, so now let's look at this situation here. Shorter stack, shorter stack. You're kind of on par with Chino. Like everyone's kind of close in this spot. Like if it folds to you, I mean this is an open in Badeucey. And you are in the money bubble. I guess like the one thing is like I tell people a lot is like if they can attack, they probably should be attacking. No one can really knock you out here except Jeremy. So this is close here in the cutoff with the 378. I mean, it's an open for chips. There's no question about it, especially with the blocker. But it's close. I'm just gonna say it's close, and I'm not sure which one, but I don't mind the raise. I don't mind the raise because like the big blind here shorter than you. This player has to pick up a hand. Like I think this is okay. He does 3-bet, which is again kind of the nightmarish hand. We take two. He takes one. We make the 8-7-6, and I think what you should do here is just check all, draw one.
Yeah.
And again, like kind of keep some of his hands in there. I don't think you're pushing enough equity here, theoretically here, to justify the check raise given the ICM implications. Like I think what you want to do here is check, call, and draw one. Looks good to me. He pats. Yeah, we're just getting a showdown now with an Badugi. You make 8-8 on this river. This is really close to a bet. So he went. Did he go pat pre-draw or take one?
Took one and then pat.
He went one and pat. So this is close because like he should have probably all 9 Badugis in his range if he has all 9 Badugis in his range pre-draw. It's probably worth a bet. I don't mind a check call here, again, given the ICM implications, but my belief for chips is this is probably a bet when you make 8-8. So I don't have a problem one way or the other, really, realistically, what you do here. Check, he bets you call. And he's got a better 8 low with a 3-card 7. So we're going to chop that.
Yeah. I think there's a reasonable chance we get scooped here with the worst 8.
It's possible. It definitely is possible given how the button here probably should play relatively tight. Okay, yeah, he should play like relatively tight in this situation. And the thing though is I also think like if we go back one, let's go back. This is it, right? No, that's right. Sorry, back here. So if he's playing relatively tight, I get it, but yeah, it's close because like again, depends on like who's kind of playing like the game and who's playing the ICM side. But I still think against like having a 9 Badugi here, you probably just want to raise all 9 Badugis. Like maybe not the 6, 7, 8, 9 for obviously reasons, but still that's pushing like chip EV. But I still think most of my opponents here are gonna like raise the 9 Badugi, and then they might do something tricky where like they might check like a random street they're supposed to bet, and still have showdown value. But I still think raising all 9 Badugis here is correct. So it's close. I mean, like, yeah, you would hate to go bet raise on that river, but
Mhm.
it's definitely close when you make 8-8, and if he's got nines there. If he doesn't have nines there, you should just check your hand. All
Yeah.
right, now here's one thing to look at. You are third in chips, 5 get paid. Under the gun has
Yeah.
5.6. So three big blind, sorry, less than three big blinds, and then 4 big blinds, and then you have 6.5. So here, I think we should be playing really tight. This is a spot where if it folds to me, I'm probably folding with the 2 big stacks behind, and they can both attack the big blind. So you raise. I
Mhm.
think this is a slight mistake here, just because given the ICM dynamics. If we had a 3 card 8 here, you could theoretically attack, but again, like having 2 stacks on the bubble, like less than half than yours, and they're gonna have to play the big blinds, the blinds here soon. I think we want to
Mhm.
probably fold this one. He calls. You take 2. I would take 3. I just
Okay.
wanted to get my ability to reduce.
Yeah.
He checks. You check. Take. Interesting here. You took it a 3 card 9. I mean, honestly, it's probably worth something here. When he pats in front of you, it's a small nightmare. It's definitely going to be
Mhm.
a hard hand to play no matter what you do in this situation, because I wouldn't keep the 3 card 8. I think drawing 3 again, or actually keeping the 3 card 9 has a little bit of merit. I think the problem with keeping a 3 card 9 though is when it goes to, it went 2-2 in the last draw. So when it
Yeah.
goes 2-2 and it goes check and then he pats behind you, a lot of times that's like a big hand that wanted to check raise you. So
Okay.
there are some hands that are like, might have changed his strategy when you decided to check behind, where like he might have 10-10, therefore like keeping the 9 Badugi is your best play. But also there's a lot of like
Mm.
traps in here, right? Now
Yeah.
you've seen one pair and you've seen a couple like hearts. Um from the playability side, I think I'm gonna take 3 again. I think that's probably what I would want to do, is like I would either like make a big hand or make a big draw to continue with this one. So he pats and you take 2 at the 9 and you do make the 9-5. So yeah, like now I feel like you are kind of trapped in here with the 9-5.
Okay.
I think it's just too good to fold. Pat. And yeah, like now you make actually a pretty big hand here with a 7 Badeucey and a 9. And when he checks here, you're in like heaven. Like you're totally free rolling here to scoop the pot. So you bet and he calls, and he made an 8 low with a 3 card. I don't fault him for playing it this way, to be completely honest. The only question here is like, should he bet the river as a semi bluff? And I think the answer is no. The reason being is because he can get raised all in here, or not raised all in here, but basically like close to raised all in here
Yeah.
if he bets, and it's really gonna be tough here because like remember he just played the big blind. These guys have to play their big blind, so um they might just make mistakes in their own right. So I think he plays this hand good, and you guys chop it.
Mhm.
Let's go to the next one. All right, same type of deal here. So he's got a little over 4. He starts his hand with less than 3, and then Chino over here starts it with 3. So ace to 5 triple draw here. This is just a fold. These 2 guys are behind you.
Yeah.
Like let them
Yeah.
attack it. This is just ICM mistake for sure. So we call. We're heads up. I would take 3 at the ace 3. I wouldn't keep the 8. Keeping the 8 here is definitely a mistake. Because now he's just going to have every single draw he's going to have against you is better than yours.
Yeah.
You make 8-5. I would still bet and take 1, honestly. You can like there's some spots here where you do want a quick pat, but actually since we're ICM, since the ICM here, like I would check and I would check and probably draw 1.
Okay.
He does raise. Now again, this is like kind of the ICM nightmare aspect of it, is like when he gets raises, it's
Yeah.
brutal because now every single bet you put in is just going to put you closer to these stacks.
Yeah.
So he pats, jack, check, bet, call, make another jack, check, check, and he makes the 7. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is a spot where like again just fold, because like it's so likely that one of these guys is going to have to get all in before you.
Mhm.
You don't necessarily have to play the hand, and you don't want to play a hand where you're like drawing really rough out of position and playing from an early position like that with a draw that just kind of has you dead more often than not. All right, kind of the same thing here. I think next hand, the ace 4 6. I would throw this hand away under the gun. I think this is marginal in its own right, because we did see the 2-3-6 on itself was not necessarily an open. If we look over at these hands and we look at the ace 4-6 king 10, it's definitely should be actually it's a little bit rougher here.
Very.
So yeah, 26.7. So this is a hand that I'd be
Yeah.
folding under the gun without the blocker. Kind of interesting to see that. That's a hand that I would have totally played before digging into it. So we open. But again, like given the short stacks here too, like just I would just get out of the hand. Call, heads up, 4, 6, 7, check, and like you can do some funky things here again on the bubble. Like you can just check this one card draw back, and we bet and he calls. He takes 2, he take 1, he takes 10. He checks. Yeah, you're supposed to bet here in a 2-1 spot. Plus you made a 10. He raises nightmare, but he's all in. Then when you patch, you're supposed to break the 10. You make the 7, which is a little bit of hope here. I mean, like when he goes 2 to pad here, like you make the 7-6, and this should be good a lot of times, but he makes a 6 and we're not. So now we're in super danger. Plus we're in the big blind the next hand, and this is just one we're gonna have to go with. Unfortunately, with the 2-4, like we just can't fold. Yeah, we just have to go with it. No one's gonna make like, and you're gonna be all in anyways in the small blind, so you just got to go with it. Check, bet, raise. Yeah, you just got to draw the 6 here now, given this action. Kind of gross. This is a gross spot. Did we see an 8 too? I think we did.
So
We saw an 8,
yeah, we do.
and yeah, so we saw an 8. That was the only blocker. Seeing the 8 hurts you a little bit in this situation. See the action again. So goes 2, 3, 2, 2. Check, bet, call, raise. I might ditch the 7 because I don't think 7-6 is going to be good. The way this is played out and the fact that he's short.
Yeah.
So like he's basically putting his tournament life on the line here against you. I think that we're supposed to take 2 again. And again, like the only question here is like, how can we maximize our hand and our equity? And I think the thing is like, I just think you're dead to the 7-6 so often. Theoretically here, like, yes, you're probably supposed to draw 1, but I'm not sure as played, like he's going to have a worse hand here, just given the fact that like you're dead here so often. Because like, again, he could theoretically get all in here and, bust with like a weak hand, which would kind of be catastrophic. Like he's probably going to beat you more often than not because you're all in kind of blind. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be super rough here. So I would take 2. You take 1, pair 7s, we're dead anyway. So and he just has number 2. So yeah, we're
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, kind of like some like different ways to think about playing draw games in the ICM end game for the most part. Any questions, comments? I'm curious to hear, like looking back at it a little bit. But yeah, please let me know.
Yeah, so the final table started pretty good. I think I had the cheap lead at the start of it, but and then a couple passes were lost in like deuce to 7 I see, and Badeucey, I guess, ace to 5. But mostly I had a decent position before those previous 2 ace to 5 hands that you said I probably should have folded, given the ICM situation. And maybe I wasn't paying enough attention to the ICM spot. I was just looking at my cards and saying, okay, I'm going to open this. And
Yeah, it's something that, when we're playing live poker or in a cash game, we're always thinking about like, how can I play this hand maximally? Because, we rarely run out of chips, right? And if you run out of chips, you just rebuy. I mean, it's kind of like the old cliche and the old description of like what a tournament is, because like when your chips are gone, you're out of the tournament. But there is something definitely to be said about thinking how to play certain situations now that we're getting close to the money. And I I don't want to say to people like your first goal should be to make the money, because like obviously if you're trying to be as profitable as you can be, your goal is to make the money. There's no question. But a lot of people also like want to win tournaments, and I have students that just want to win tournaments. In cases like that, you just kind of go for it. Like, yeah, you're not going to necessarily increase your dollar win rate, but you're going to increase your trophy win rate, especially because in situations like that, like a good example of this is like say Raj had like 20 bets here, and he should probably be starting to tighten up his range a little bit. But if he wants to go for the trophy here, he can just start like putting pressure on you a little bit. And if he gets busted, he doesn't care. But if he wants to win some extra trophies, like that's probably the way to do it, because if he increases his chip stack now, he can put more pressure on the field because they're more ICM aware. It's kind of like this interesting dynamic where people are trying to make the money, but at the same time too, if you're aware that people are trying to make the money, you can really kind of like starting to find some edges and push some things. But with respect to like some of the hand selections, I would just say, there's some spots we need to probably tighten up.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the funny thing is when I was reviewing these hands, I didn't really realize until the end, like how relatively short your opponents were. But now seeing that in game, definitely something you want to pay attention to, especially when it's only one table. If there's 2 or 3 tables, like it's obviously a little bit harder. You can always pull the tables up and kind of like follow the action. But if there's one table left, you definitely want to be focusing on like how short they are and kind of adjusting your play. I can't tell you how many times, when I was at a World Series final table, or just final tables in general. You know, people just aren't paying attention to like what's going on. You know, they can kind of like see the stats, but like, oh, I have this marginal hand here, I probably should just get all in. When in reality, you know, especially in games where your opponents can have like no equity, they just
Mhm.
need to be folding. And again, there's kind of like this different dynamic where you want to be either trying to go to win the tournament and or you want to be trying to maximize your dollar profit. But yeah, like it's just something to definitely take a look at and pay attention to is you know the stack sizes and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I appreciate you sending in the video, Julian, or you know, sending in the hand history, and like we're able to use a replay here with Mixed Games Lab. Again, Mixed Games Lab, Donkey's Lab, Stud Flop Draw. You guys can go to each one of those sites and use code LMG for a discount. You can always record up to 1 hour on Phenom and send it in for a free review. If you have not registered for a Phenom account, use code LMG. You get a 200% deposit bonus plus 2 hours of free review. But Julian, again, I thank you for doing this. Anything else you want to add before we sign off?
No, I want to thank you for having me for this review. It was very interesting to go over the hands and have an outside perspective on how I played. So thank you for the analysis, the free coaching, as you can call it. And I'll be looking at what other content you put out because it's always good content and very good to learn all these games. And I'm very interested to learn all I can learn, and I'll be happy to follow along.
All right. Well, thank you, Julian. I appreciate it. And mixed game heaven for everyone else. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. As always, good luck at the tables. Play well. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.